we had a different idea to look at the world of innovation. A lot of things can be innovated. We believe it starts with the person, the innovator. So we looked the world through the lens of an innovator, and through my career I figured out that a lot of people who are struggling how to become innovators. Whether it is a sari with a pocket or Siri, a whole lot of things is covered under innovation. Having said that, how many of you think if you Google innovation and if you Google innovator, this would be the number of hits you would see? It's about 1.2 billion versus an order of magnitude different. So that means there is something skewed about this topic of innovation. That means more of us should be doing than the some of us that were actually doing. And if you see, how many of us actually think we are innovators? We usually ask this question in the beginning. If you can show a raise of hands for me to count. Okay. Yeah. This room is slightly, usually 6 to 8%. I think it's more like 8 to 10%. So it's still in that range. So that is where we try to understand what is going on in this person's mind. What is it that he or she is trying to do? And in that case, how does he or she think? Do they dress differently? Do they talk differently? Do they walk differently? Or do they there in a hologram around their head? What is there about this person who is called innovator? And it's a very intriguing story because most of us are. Think about it. As students, if you have to get attendance, see, one ready-made idea already, proven and tested. Now if you want to manage home and teachers, another axis will come. If you manage your kids, you can think how you deal with policemen when you're caught without helmet. You know, you are very creative best. Sir, somebody has expired, I have to really urgent, I forgot. So somebody will suddenly come out of nowhere to help you out. But the brain starts to work and say, hey, look out for a solution. Find a way to get out of this situation. For many people, it is like magic. You all have been fascinated when you were kids about magic, right? Magic show is always lights are off and the spotlight is on and then he does something. Somewhere you know it is not true. Somewhere. But it's difficult for you to tell yourself that it is not true. Because you don't know how he is doing it. So till you know how the magician is doing the magic, it becomes very difficult for you to know and accept that it is true. So you believe, you get wow. Anybody has a note to spare? I want to prick a hole in that currency note. Do you have, Abhishek? $100? Okay, I have one. This is just a piece of paper. I need a pen. If anybody has pen or pencil, anything would do. This is a real note, not demonetized yet. $100, normal paper. Okay, normal paper. Okay. I am not a pro magician. Okay. I just flip it around. I want to poke a hole and make this note useless. Okay. I'm going to fold this nicely here, and I'm going to put this pen and say 1, 2, 3. Gone. $100 gone. Right? So the magician would say, it's out. And then he would say, here is the paper, which has a big hole. Can you see? It should be on this also. How? Magic. We are now, this magic we'll discuss in the break. Now we're going to see how the innovator is going to do magic. What's going on through this innovator's head that you and me can pick up. We will talk about 10 things and you can see how simple it can become to you. Context is critical. Context is why you are doing what you are doing. Why are you sitting in this room? Why am I listening to this crap? What is going on? Why I'm even linking about whatever is going on to what I am today. This is very, very important. There is one nice story, perhaps you would have heard, when Kennedy visited NASA in the 60s. As he entered, there was a janitor cleaning the floor. He asked him, hey, how are you doing? What are you doing? He should have said, I'm cleaning the floor, no? He said, I'm trying to put a man on the moon. He said, what? You? He says, my work contributes to what this setup is doing. So my actual value addition is to put a man on the moon. That is the level of why you are doing what you are doing is important. After you understood that, then comes the better part of it. Suppose somebody comes and tells me, sir, I have a new carbon composite material. I said, so what? Sir, it is light. I said, so what? Sir, it makes the weight of the aircraft less. I said, so what? Till he tells me what benefit it gives, I have no interest in it. I can go and tell my mother, Mom, this is Gorilla Glass. I said, what? Gorilla she knows, but she has no clue what I'm talking about. It happened to me, which grounded me for some time. I'm an engineer, right? So I made an induction cooktop, which is app controlled through the phone. So put it on a dining table, showed my mother, Mom, this induction you can control by app. She said, so? Hey, what do you mean? This is an IoT device. I can control this device with this. I said, why? You are next to it. I said, yeah, okay, fine. I'm an engineer, so I have to get my way out of it. I was traveling to China the next day. I said, I'm going to China, so I can control from there. And do what? You're going to cook from there, I'm going to eat here? What is the plan? So I have no clue. Just because I can do it, please don't do it. Don't put stuff because you can do it. It's very, very big trap for engineers, because we get excited, we expect everybody to get excited about it. Okay? The perceived value is what people look for. What does it do for me? What does it bring value to me in terms of what? Okay? If there is a problem which I face today, if there is a solution to that problem, and it happens to be new and useful, often we lose one or two of these dimensions. It is like me coming and telling Abhishek, I have a tablet for hair growth. You will go a lot of hair. Buy. Offer. 3 for 399. He says, why? I said, what do you mean by? I have spent 2 years on this. He said, so? Please buy. He said, no, I don't need it. See, people don't buy this because they don't need stuff. This is not value, this is perceived value. Not what I think, what they think about what I'm making. For that you need to create dots. Forget about connecting dots. Forget about it. Create them first. Our potential is to create. Connection is easy. Okay? You have to create, recreate, rearrange, resynthesize, reimagine, do whatever it takes. But one thing that helps you do this is having multitude of experience. So this is where you create experience for yourself, which will create a dot. Reconfiguring the dots is one of the best things the innovators do. They connect unconnected things by this. That is where you feel that you are much more capable of doing something which others have not done. Right? What helps to do that is the ability to develop the skill of analogy, comparing things. Not he versus him, she versus him. No. This is comparing things which you know with things that you don't know. For example, you can think of what is similar between a lotus and a windshield, car glass windshield. When you put a drop of water, the lotus manages to get rid of it. Can I do that for my windshield? That's an analogy you are thinking up and building up an idea. Innovators think in analogies. What are the similarities between a car and a human being? Which is the heart? Which is the lungs? Can I look at different things in terms of RO, water filter, and kidney? This is something we are losing a little bit very quickly. Vividly visualize, not just visualize, vividly visualize. Meaning, if I have to think of something new, one of the most important things that I understand it first. Once I understand it, I can articulate it. Suppose I have to design a helmet for the hot weather. I can tell you in 1,000 words, it is this shape, there are that many holes, the hole is of 1.5 mm, it is tapered, it is 35 in the back, 47 in the front. It makes no difference to you. But if I can draw, once I visualize, it's going to be a very powerful tool. Let me tell you something. The language, thinking language, is images, not words. Words came much later. A big research says words is only 7% of what we articulate and communicate. So it means we don't think in words, we think in images, and then we translate into words. In that way, if you see understanding articulation, you can draw something which is incorrect. You can draw something which is incomplete. You can never draw something which is unclear to you. Just test it. Something which is unclear, you cannot draw. It might be wrong, but you cannot draw a vague thing. I cannot draw a vague helmet. I can draw a wrong helmet. So that is the power of visualizing. There is something which we call the role mutation. Think of doing 3 roles: an artist, a scientist, and as an industrialist. These 3 people think very differently. An artist thinks in terms of what all is possible. I can do that, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. A scientist says, how does it work? Is there data? Is there information to prove whatever we are thinking? Is there data to compare what we have planned and what it is going on? An industrial says, why should we do this? So they have different views and all are important. You need all of them. You cannot ignore the why at any point of time. It is so crucial to do this, because in this way you can understand why a CEO, who is the biggest boss of a company, gets paid the most. Have you ever wondered? He doesn't do any work, he doesn't do any coding, he doesn't do any product, he gets paid the most. Why? He just asks, why the hell are we doing? And goes away. And we all get to work and give him a report. Say, why not that? Again he goes away. Then again we go and run. So this question of asking why the hell we are doing whatever we are doing is going to decide where you're going to end up. And that's where a lot of companies are trying to get. Companies in front of you have disappeared, right? Not that they did something wrong. They did not do something right. They did not do something right, asking why are we doing this? Why we are not doing that? And those questions make or break a lot of situations. Levitate your mind. Do not get comfortable with anything. Do not get comfortable with any topic. Do not get comfortable with any reasoning. Do not get comfortable with any particular theory. Do not get comfortable with any kind of concept or way of working. But if you know, logic takes you from one known to another known. Intuition, on the other hand, takes us from a known to an unknown. Do not be afraid to switch between the two. Please switch between the two. Be comfortable that you cannot explain something at a given point of time. It's okay. I know something. I may not be able to explain now, but I am going to prove that it can be explained. So that is the ability that will give you to see new things. The ability to switch between these two is what it will give you, in his words of Einstein. Very beautifully said. I have not seen a better definition of this. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and forgotten the gift. And I think this cannot be said more. It's wonderfully put. That's where I think we have to choose between the two. Don't get comfortable with any particular way of doing something. Today is the era of artificial intelligence. We are dumping machine with AI. So we should do something opposite, no? So we should increase our artificial stupidity as well. And I don't mean it as a joke. I really mean it. I am a stupid guy. I consider myself a stupid guy. I'll give you an example. In one of the school exams, it was written at the top, answer any 8 questions. I answered any 8 questions that I knew. Actually, I was supposed to answer any 8 from the below 10. I did not go beyond that line itself. So my problem is, I don't assume things, right? If you want to assume something, you will lose a lot of opportunities in life. Lot of opportunities, trust me. There is a book itself written called The Power of Asking. Don't assume. Ask, what will happen? They might laugh, no? So the whole point is, grow out of being childish to being childlike. The difference is very simple. This is full of curiosity, the childlike inquisitiveness, curiosity to know things. How does it happen? How does it work at all? What happens actually? No? And in the same way, don't be silly, but be stupid. The stupidity helps you explore things. Then comes what is very bad for engineers, the art of selling. I have done everything, I have got my innovation now. I go to my mother and say, Mom, this is quad-core processor, this has Siri, this has 4 GB RAM, upgradable to 8 GB RAM, lithium polymer, not lithium ion, lithium polymer battery, Gorilla Glass, all that I tell. In the end, she will listen because I'm her son, then she'll ask, so what? Then I'm gone, flat again. So the idea is, check what's in it for me. Now this me is not me whom I am pitching it to. What does he or she want? What is it that they are looking for? If you want to sell your product correctly, actually you don't have to sell. You know, it sounds a little bit of tricky. If you want to sell, you should not sell. You should tell. When you tell the right things in the right way, it will automatically sell itself. That is where what's in it for me is very important. You have to stop selling and start helping, is what Zig Ziglar says. He's one of the world's very renowned salesmen. Very renowned salesman, wonderful books he has written if you want to read. How to sell without selling. So the whole point here is you have to understand how to sell. Very, very difficult for our culture to say failure. That's why I have not written, I am only saying. It is very difficult for us to say, yeah, it didn't work. So I have changed the word. I said, stop using that word itself. Because the truth is, it is a difference between what you planned and what came out as a result. There is a gap. In a way which it doesn't make you happy. I want to do my marathon in X hours. I did it in X plus. Fine. It's not a failure if you want to do it still. So the whole point is it doesn't work is a much better description than the F word. It makes life a lot simpler because the truth is that. So you understand that your risk profile and the reward you are expecting, that you are comfortable with. Okay? You should understand what risk you want to take, what reward you can expect, and you should be comfortable with that. And that's where the whole point of how you can define failure becomes your own. It is you decides, you who decides what is failure or what is not working. Okay? If you do what is expected, you are average, we say. So don't feel too proud that I did what I was expected. Anybody from the industry will know, if you do what is expected, they'll say you are acceptable because you did what you are supposed to do. What is the big deal? You should always give something extra. So I promised you 10 tips, I'll give you one more. Be fit mentally and be fit physically also. Mental fitness never done. Because we abuse our mind so much that we ourselves are full of ripples if you compare it to a pond. Analogy here. If I compare my mind with a still water, I can see the reflection perfectly, picture perfect. If my pond is filled with ripple, with all sorts of thoughts and disturbances, any image is corrupt. So my learning is gone completely. That's where you have to understand having a fun mind. You know, we have a lot of fun, laugh things. Try to relax yourself because when you are relaxed, learning is the best. For any person, for anything. When you are tense, you cannot forget about learning. You cannot do what you already have learned. So I have nothing else to say. This is what I wanted to share. Hope it was useful. Thank you so much.